Imagine waking up one morning, walking to your kitchen, and finding that someone had already laid out your breakfast, your coffee, and your keys, exactly where you'd need them. You'd call that person a genius. Now imagine that someone is a bird, not a parrot, not a dolphin with wings, a crow. A plain black, garbage-picking crow that most people shoo away from their driveways. Here's what will blow your mind. Scientists have proven that crows don't just react to the world around them. They think ahead. They plan. They imagine a tomorrow that hasn't happened yet, and they prepare for it. And the more researchers study these birds, the more uncomfortable the question becomes. If a crow can plan for the future, what does that say about what it means to be intelligent? Stay with me, because this story gets strange, beautiful, and just a little bit unsettling. For most of human history, we believed that future planning was uniquely human. Philosophers called it mental time travel, the ability to mentally leave the present moment, project yourself into tomorrow, and make decisions right now based on that imagined future. Your dog doesn't do this. Your cat certainly doesn't. Even our closest cousins, the great apes, showed only limited signs of it in early studies. It was considered the cognitive crown jewel of humanity. But then, the crows showed up. In the early 2000s, a researcher named Nicola Clayton at Cambridge University began studying a species called western scrub jays, a relative of crows. What she discovered quietly sent shockwaves through the scientific world. She gave these birds food, a mix of worms and nuts. Nuts were just okay. But here was the twist. The worms decayed. After a few hours, they were gone. The nuts lasted. And the birds knew this. When they were allowed to cache their food, they buried more nuts in places they wouldn't visit for a while, and more worms in spots they'd return to quickly. They were not reacting. They were calculating. They were thinking about a future version of themselves, and asking, what will I need, and will it still be there? The scientific community sat up straight. They were modeling the minds of other birds, anticipating deception and countering it before it happened. That's not instinct. That's not reflex. That is theory of mind. And suddenly, the debate wasn't just about crows anymore. It was about the very definition of intelligence, consciousness, and whether humans had been dangerously arrogant in drawing the line between us and them. So researchers doubled down. If crows could plan around hunger and theft, could they plan for entirely new situations they had never encountered before? A landmark study gave crows a problem they had never seen in the wild. A small treat was placed inside a vertical tube. The only way to get it, drop a small stone into the tube to push the treat up. The crows had never done this. There was no ancestral memory of tubes, no conditioning, no trial and error. Some crows solved it in under 4 minutes. But the researchers pushed further. They made it harder. Now the tube was filled with water. Dropping a heavy stone would raise the water level, and the floating treat. Not only did the crows figure this out, they selected the heaviest stones available. They chose solid objects over hollow ones. They ignored materials that wouldn't sink. They were running mental simulations, imagining the outcome of their actions before performing them. This is what physicists do, what engineers do, what chess grandmasters do. And then came the study that truly silenced the room. Researchers placed crows in a situation where they could earn a tool today, but would only need that tool tomorrow morning, in a completely different room they had never been to. The crows kept the tool overnight. They carried it into the new room the next morning. They used it to get their reward. They had imagined a future scenario, in an unfamiliar place, and prepared for it hours in advance. No living creature outside of humans and great apes had ever demonstrated this. Until the crow. So what does this all mean? Here's where it gets truly profound. For decades, we defined human intelligence by what we thought only we could do. Language, tool use, empathy, and yes, planning for the future. One by one, those walls have crumbled. And the crow, the bird we called a pest, a bad omen, a thief in black feathers, has been quietly dismantling our most cherished assumptions about what makes a mind. But here's the most beautiful part of this story. Crows have a brain the size of a walnut. Their brain structure looks nothing like ours. They don't have a neocortex, the region we long believed was the seat of higher thinking in mammals. And yet they arrived at the same destination through a completely different evolutionary road. Scientists now call this convergent cognitive evolution, the idea that intelligence isn't a single path, it's a destination that life keeps finding, again and again, through wildly different routes. The crow didn't need to be like us to be as capable as us, in some very specific, very remarkable ways. And perhaps, that's the real lesson. We've spent centuries asking, how smart are animals compared to humans? But the crow forces us to ask a far more humbling question. How many kinds of intelligence exist in this world that we've never even thought to look for? The crow knew something was coming tomorrow. Maybe it's time we started paying attention to what the crow has been trying to tell us all along.